After 18 years, Valerie Bertinelli confirms the reason for divorce from Eddie Van Halen. The year was 2007, and the tabloids were ablaze with speculation. Valerie Bertinelli, the beloved actress known for her role on One Day at a Time and her wholesome girl-next-door charm, had just filed for divorce from Eddie Van Halen, the legendary guitarist whose virtuosic riffs defined rock music with his band, Van Halen. Their marriage, spanning 18 years, had been a union that captured the public's imagination, a Hollywood starlet and a rock god, seemingly defying the odds of fame and fortune. Yet, as the news broke, fans and media alike were left wondering, what could have torn this iconic couple apart? For years, silence prevailed, with neither Valerie nor Eddie offering much beyond vague statements about irreconcilable differences. But now, in a candid revelation, Valerie Bertinelli has finally confirmed the reasons behind their split, pulling back the curtain on a marriage that was as complex as it was passionate. Their love story began in 1980, a time when Valerie was riding high as a television star, and Eddie was cementing his status as a rock icon. They met at a Van Halen concert in Shreveport, Louisiana, where Valerie, then 20, was invited backstage. The chemistry was instantaneous, a spark that ignited despite their vastly different worlds. Eddie, with his wild energy and larger-than-life persona, was drawn to Valerie's grounded warmth and infectious laugh. She, in turn, was captivated by his talent and charisma, a man who could command a stage, yet seemed vulnerable in private moments. Within 8 months, they were married in a whirlwind ceremony on April 11, 1981. The world saw a fairy tale, but behind the scenes, their union was already facing challenges that would test their commitment. The early years of their marriage were a balancing act. Valerie's career demanded long hours on set, while Eddie's life was consumed by tours, recording sessions, and the relentless pace of rock stardom. Despite their love, the pressures of fame began to create fissures. Eddie's struggles with addiction, particularly to alcohol and later cocaine, became a shadow over their relationship. Valerie, in her memoir Losing It and Gaining My Life, back 1 pound at a time, later described how Eddie's substance abuse created a cycle of chaos. There were nights when he'd disappear, lost in a haze of partying, leaving Valerie to grapple with fear and uncertainty. Yet, she stood by him, believing in the man she'd fallen in love with, hoping he could overcome his demons. Their son Wolfgang, born in 1991, brought a new dimension to their marriage. For a time, his arrival seemed to anchor them. Eddie, who adored his son, found moments of clarity in fatherhood, and Valerie embraced motherhood with the same dedication she brought to her career. But the demands of parenting only amplified the strain of Eddie's addiction. Valerie recounts in her recent interview how she often felt like a single parent even when Eddie was physically present. His erratic behavior, mood swings, missed commitments, and the unpredictability of his substance use created a home environment that was far from stable. Valerie, who had grown up in a family that valued structure, found herself struggling to maintain normalcy for Wolfgang while shielding him from his father's struggles. By the mid-1990s, the cracks in their marriage were undeniable. Eddie's health began to deteriorate, a consequence of years of hard living. His battle with tongue cancer in 2000, which he initially attributed to holding metal guitar picks in his mouth, was a wake-up call, but not enough to fully pull him from addictions. Grip. Valerie, meanwhile, was navigating her own challenges. Her weight fluctuations, a source of public scrutiny, mirrored her internal turmoil. She later admitted that food became a coping mechanism, a way to numb the pain of a marriage that was unraveling. Yet publicly, they maintained a united front, attending events together and projecting an image of resilience. Behind closed doors, however, Valerie was grappling with a growing sense of isolation. The turning point came in 2001, when Valerie made the heart-wrenching decision to separate. In her recent confirmation, she cites Eddie's refusal to fully commit to sobriety as the primary reason for their divorce. "I loved him with everything I had," she said in a poignant interview. But love alone couldn't fix what was broken. She describes years of ultimatums, rehab stints, and broken promises. Each time Eddie would vow to get clean, only to relapse, chipping away at her trust. Valerie recalls a particularly devastating moment when Wolfgang, then just a boy, asked why his father was always sleeping or gone. That question, she says, was the moment she knew she had to protect her son, even if it meant ending her marriage. The decision to file for divorce in 2005 finalized in 2007, was not made lightly. Valerie speaks of the guilt she carried, wondering if she could have done more to save Eddie or their marriage. She loved him deeply, even through the pain, and the public nature of their split only amplified her grief. The media frenzy painted her as the heartbroken wife, and Eddie as the troubled genius, but Valerie insists the truth was more nuanced. "We were two people who loved each other fiercely, but couldn't find a way to make it work," she reflects. Eddie's addiction wasn't the only factor. Valerie acknowledges her own struggles with codependency. Her tendency to prioritize his needs over her own played a role in prolonging the inevitable. In the years following their divorce, both Valerie and Mrs. Eddie carved out new paths. Valerie found solace in her career, starring in shows like Hot in Cleveland and becoming a culinary star with her Food Network series. She also embarked on a journey of self-discovery, addressing her emotional and physical health through therapy and wellness practices. Eddie, meanwhile, continued to create music with Van Halen, though his battles with addiction and health issues persisted until his death in 2020 from throat cancer. Their post-divorce relationship was complex, but not without love. They co-parented Wolfgang, who later joined Van Halen as a bassist, and maintained a bond rooted in shared history and mutual respect. Valerie's decision to speak out now, nearly 2 decades later, comes from a place of healing. She says she wants to set the record straight, not to vilify Eddie, but to honor their truth. "Eddie was a brilliant man, a genius, but he was human," she explains. "Our story isn't just about addiction or failure, it's about love, struggle, and growth." She hopes her openness will resonate with others facing similar challenges, particularly those navigating relationships touched by addiction. Valerie emphasizes that her love for Eddie never faded, even after their marriage ended. His death was a profound loss, one that brought back memories of their best moments. The laughter, the music, the quiet nights when it was just them against the world. Reflecting on their 18 years together, Valerie describes a marriage that was both beautiful and brutal. The highs were electric, Eddie playing her songs he'd written, their shared pride in Wolfgang's first steps, stolen moments of joy amid the chaos. But the lows were crushing, marked by hospital visits, arguments, and the weight of unspoken fears. Valerie's confirmation of their divorce's cause isn't about assigning blame, but about acknowledging the reality of addiction's toll. She speaks of forgiveness, not just for Eddie, but for herself, recognizing that she did the best she could with the tools she had at the time. Today, Valerie is at peace with her past. She's found love again with her partner, Mike Goodnow, and continues to thrive professionally and personally. Her relationship with Wolfgang remains her greatest joy, a testament to the strength she found in the aftermath of her marriage. Eddie's legacy, too, lives on through his music and their son, who carries his father's talent and spirit. Valerie's story is one of resilience, a reminder that even the most public lives are shaped by private battles. By sharing her truth, she offers a message of hope, that healing is possible, even after the deepest wounds, and that love in all its forms endures. In closing, Valerie Bertinelli's confirmation of the reasons behind her divorce from Eddie Van Halen is more than a celebrity tell-all. It's a human story of love tested by addiction, of choices made in the face of impossible odds, and of a woman who found her strength in letting go. Their 18-year marriage may have ended, but the lessons it taught her about love, forgiveness, and self-worth continue to shape her life. As she moves forward, Valerie carries Eddie's memory with her, not as a burden, but as a part of her story, one that she's finally ready to share with the world.